Hey Techno Studs, in this video we're going to finish up the configuration of our switches. Let me get you up to speed first on where I'm at. In this module, I started out by doing a demo and then I did some project work on my switches. That means I set up the VLANs on these switches and I saved the configuration. And then I did some other demos as well. I've restarted the switches so it didn't save any of my demo work. And now I'm back to where I have the VLAN set up, but I don't have full connectivity. And I don't have full connectivity because I don't have the trunk line set up between the switches. I'm on switch 2 here. So let me just show you this. I'm on this demo laptop right here, and it's connected into switch 2. So I have connectivity into it because I'm on that switch. I cannot get into switch 1 or switch 3 at this point in time because these lines right here don't have trunk lines on them. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up trunk lines between these switches so I have full connectivity. Right now I'm remoted into switch 2, so that's what you're seeing right here. I have switch 2, and then I have a console cable into switch 1 right here. So I'm going to jump on it and do some configuration in a second. All right. So let's start setting up these switches for connectivity. Now I have, what I need to do in here is first of all go through and save the configurations for these. So what I'll do is I'm just going to go through the process of setting up where I'm logging this information. I'm going to save out the information and then I'm going to make my other changes. Now that I've saved out my configurations, it's time to start configuring the individual trunk lines. So I'm on switch 2 right here, and the first thing that I'm going to do is configure FA047. So I get into FA47, and then I'm going to call it out that it's switch port mode trunk. I'm going to configure the specific VLANs that I want, which is all of them except for 5 in this case, not VLAN 5, but the rest of the VLANs I have configured on here, I want to be on there. I'm going to, the native VLAN is going to be VLAN 2. So here is the configurations for switch 2. I'm going to copy that, come over here, paste that into there, and now I've got switch 2 configured. Same thing, going to go to switch 1. The difference here is I'm remoted into this because I don't have that connectivity between my devices yet. And then what I'll do is I'm going to copy switch 1 right here. In this case, I left out the switch port mode trunk. I'm just going to let DDP handle that part of it. This is a 3750, so it was throwing up an error with that one, so I'll just leave that one out, and DTP will do the configuration. So I'm going to copy this. I've already saved out the config of this device, so I'll paste this into here. Now I just need to get into switch 3 and configure switch 3. And because I don't have connectivity to it, I'm going to have to move my console cable over to it to connect into it. But I will move my console cable over to it, configure it. The interface is going to be the same setup as switch 2, so I just can copy that same configuration into there. And the last things that I'm going to do with this is I'm going to save out my configuration to make sure that this is saved, and then I'm going to capture a copy of the configuration so I have a backup copy for the future. Once I've done that, then these are going to be set up the way I want them set up moving forward into future modules and future lessons that we have. And one last thing that I'd want to do before I called this project all done is make sure that everything is communicating the way I expect it to communicate. So I, at this point in time, have configured between switch 2 and switch 3. I've configured a trunk line. Let's give it a test. All I need to do is, since VLAN 10, it should be going across there, is be able to make connectivity into it. So I'm going to load up in PuTTY connection. And if I can communicate, if I can get to this point right here, then I have that trunk line set up and it is working. And so I am good to go with this. Once again, I'm going to finish up with saving out the configurations, doing switch 3, and then I'm done with this project.